How's it going, guys? This will be a video going over the 5 future collabs I would like to see come to War of the Visions. Now keep in mind that there will be no Final Fantasy collabs on this. I generally like to go for things that will be underneath the Square Enix brand while keeping the 5th pick kind of like a wild card, so I don't have any expectations of the 5th one being ever picked. It's more so for laughs and of course to see what people would generally think about that title coming to the game. I highly recommend you guys check out the first video, even though it's kind of old and it is definitely one of the first WotV videos I made. There may be something on that video that you would recommend, so it'll keep you up to date with pretty much the picks that I'm making today. So starting with number 1, I had to go with Xenosaga. Xenosaga is really an awesome game. I had a lot of fun whenever I was a kid playing it. It has a lot of interesting characters and I think generally they would fit very well adding to the machine class. The characters I would recommend definitely are Cosmos. I think she's really cool design. Telos is also really awesome. I guess like a dark version of Cosmos. I'm not 100% sure. As for the third pick, I had to go with Junior. I thought he would fit very well, you know, as a dual gunner or something like that. I really like all 3 of these characters and I'm not entirely sure that Xenosaga is underneath the Square Enix brand and maybe just Xenogears, but I really wanted to just make mention of this title just because I really like the units and it's more nostalgic for me, so I'm definitely happy to just kind of get it out of the way. Moving on to number 2, I had to go with Nier Replicant. The Nier title has a lot of units, a lot of characters, especially when it comes to the app, so I was able to get familiar with like more characters outside of just Nier Automata, and of course this once again adds to the machine class. I feel like it needs to definitely start to space itself out away from just human characters, and we're probably going to get a lot of those with the Final Fantasy collabs that'll be down the line. And when it comes to the picks, I had to go with Kane, I think, or Kane. Really cool design, really cool character, and probably one of my favorite units just outright when it comes to Nier. For the second pick, I had to go with Brother, I think is his name, or Protagonist, I'm not entirely sure. Once again, a really awesome design. A lot of these characters are gonna have awesome designs. I don't really know a lot about that character, but in the Nier app, he was like a spear user or something like that, and we can definitely use more of those. And finally, for the third pick, I had to go with Emil. This dude is just really cool looking. He has this undead design, and he just looks really awesome, so I had to pick him for sure. And moving on to number 3, I had to go with Neo. I'm not entirely sure if all of these characters are marked underneath the World Ends With You brand, so I just called it Neo. I'm not really familiar with this game or honestly with any of these characters, but for me I had to go with Neku. I thought Neku looked pretty cool. I got a little bit familiar with him when it came to Kingdom Hearts 3, but outside of that, like I said, that's really all I know about like the franchise itself, and I'm not honestly sure how popular these picks will be. I just kind of went off of design. So for number 2, I went with Nagi. Don't really see a lot of characters wearing glasses, so I mean, figured why not. For the final pick, I had to go with Uzuki Yashiro. I don't know if she's like evil or something, but once again, really had a cool design. That's honestly really all I had to go off of. Moving into number 4, I had to go with Trials of Mana. I played the app just for a little bit. It was fun like for a moment, but eventually it just kind of got bothersome. It's just one of those games you really have to like make it your main, unless you're taking a free-to-play approach. Maybe you're just doing your dailies or you know, something like that. Regardless of that, I had to go with Reese for the first pick, or maybe Reyes. Design-wise, really cool. One of my favorite characters when it came to the game itself. She's definitely giving me like Wind vibes, maybe like Wind Glassy or something like that, and I feel like she would just be really cool to just have in the game. Number 2, I went with Duran. I really like his personality. He seems like honestly kind of bullheaded while at the same time lighthearted, and definitely when it came to the app, he was super fun to use and just really powerful. And for the third pick, I had to go with Angela, more so based off of her design. Really cool unit. She wasn't really all that useful in the game, maybe they fixed her by now, but I was generally happy to just have her, and I feel like people would summon for her. And last but not least, finally our wild card, I had to go with Berserk. I really do enjoy the franchise as a whole, even if the anime adaptations are kind of bad. This is just a title I really wish would just come back to the light, maybe through a game or something like that. It just never really got its rightful due. And I only went with 2 picks for this one. I had to go with Guts and Griffith. They're really awesome characters. Both their stories are a little bit dark. I'm not entirely sure this would even really have a possibility of making it to WotV, but in all honesty, I feel like they would fit in the game very well. And it's always a pleasant surprise whenever WotV goes outside of their brand or outside of what they're used to doing. And generally, I really do believe that if they were to do this, that this would bring a whole influx of different people to the game that just love Berserk as a franchise or maybe just specific characters. And I think that that's something that WotV really needs to focus on when it comes to their collabs. If it's not going to be a Final Fantasy brand, try to do something based around something that already has a really loyal fan base. But outside of that, that's really all I had to say. I'm not entirely sure how you guys will feel about these picks. If you feel like I should have went with other people, you know, definitely let me know in the comment section and let me know who you guys would have went with instead. But outside of that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope to catch you in the next one. Take it easy.